It's time for Market Explainer, your number one business news podcast. Hosted by Danny and the big man. And it starts right now.
Our good friend, Joe Rogan, friend of the show, he comes on every once in a while. We talk to him.
I don't like your headline for this story. Okay, specifically the last part. Let me read this off for you folks. Here's the headline that Danny wrote for this story. Unfettered by recent controversies, bro Joe Rogan still opening a club, but this time it's on the stabby part of 6th Street. Okay? No, I don't agree with this at all. Okay? It's not on a stabby part of 6th Street. Okay?
It's on the east side of 6th Street.
No, it's not. It's on the west side.
No, it's East 6th Street. It's 320 East 6th.
Okay, yes, east, but it's not east of 35.
Oh.
It's west of 35.
Okay.
So it's not in.
Correct. That's correct.
So if you're not from Austin, folks, when I moved to Austin in 2002 from just outside of Dallas, the first thing I was told by the first person that I met in Austin, first thing was, hey, when you're moving to Austin, do not buy east of 35. Like, it was the first thing that was said. It's west of 35. So when Danny says east of, he thought it was east of 35.
Yeah, no, because I didn't know that east. I thought east and west 6th literally divided on 35.
That would make sense. No, this is on the west side. It's a couple of blocks in. It's right next to the Voodoo Donuts.
Yeah. So here's the thing.
The Dueling Piano Bar, right? That's right there.
So the thing is, I remember, like, because I haven't been down to 6th Street in a while, and I don't plan on going because I don't. But because I used to go down when it's South by Southwest, and then, like, sometimes St. Patrick's Day falls on that day.
Right.
When it's South by St. Patty's. And I just go to people watch because I don't like any of those activities. It's too many people. So this story is about, and this is a maybe, but this is what's known as I think this is pretty confirmed, actually.
Well, so this is the Ritz building. This is the Ritz, the Ritz building, right? The Ritz Theater. It's on Trinity and 6th. Right, is right where it's at. It's right next to everybody's knows Rapalo's Pizzeria. They've got a big, on 6th Street. You walk by it. They got a big window up front where at 2:00 in the morning you look at these greasy slices of New York style pizza, and they serve it to you literally right out the window onto the street. Here it is. So everybody knows that spot. You know what I mean? Around places that wonderful like Midnight Cowboy, the Thirsty Nickel, those kind of places. Anyway, here's the point. Right. This is most of 6th Street is a historic district, meaning you can't do much of anything to the outside of the building. You have to keep it looking the way it looks. And
as a real estate investor, if I see historic district on a property, I go, don't even bother. Some nerd is going to come over here and tell me what to do with my property. This is frickin' Texas. We are recording this on Texas Independence Day.
This is Texas Independence Day. Yes, it is.
How dare you tell me what to do with my property? I don't care if it's historic. You know what the other word for historic is? Old. It's old as balls.
So
I gotta keep this nasty old building. I'm gonna level it. I'm gonna put something made of glass to be a behemoth. Yeah.
No. This entire story stems from Joe Rogan's partners, right? One of the people that runs some of his businesses, especially his real estate business, appealed to what is known as the basically the commission that does all these historic landmarks and stuff.
Right. So the Historic Landmark Commission, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
So here's what happened with the Ritz Theater. It was run by Alamo Drafthouse. If you remember when I think it's Captain Marvel came out. The story went wide because there was a women's only viewing at this theater. Hey, listen, if you want to go watch Captain Marvel, which was the worst performing Marvel movie of all, the Marvel franchise has printed billions of dollars. Come out with Captain Marvel, and it flops harder than me jumping into a quarry. Okay. So this is where they had that. I don't care. Okay. I'm not going to that draft. So, the Panini was the pandemic of theater.
Right. Which is why Alamo shut it down. Yeah. Right.
So initially, Cap City was supposed to move into this building. Now, Cap City ended up moving into a building in the Domain,
right?
Because they're luxurious, disgusting wealth. I'm just kidding. So they moved into the Domain, and the thought was they're going to have the Domain, and then they're going to have that's going to be their one club, and they're going to open up this Ritz Theater. And Joe Rogan was supposed to be buying the One World Theater off of. Is it off of?
It's off of Mopac. It's west, right? It's west of Mopac. It's Bee Cave or whatever. That fell through.
Yeah, because the building had significant damage from the last snowstorm. And I saw the location of that theater. I saw the pictures of it, and I went, I don't think that's it doesn't feel like Joe Rogan to me. Okay. Now, this feels like Joe Rogan. This club is going to be called Comedy Mothership.
And I should have swiped the logos and stuff, because one of the things when you apply to this historic districts and stuff like that, you have to basically, the only thing that you can change is things like signage and
ancillary signage,
and stuff like that. So you have to literally say, hey, this is the sign I want to hang off of this building, right? And that kind of stuff. So they had a couple of mock-ups of the comedy, and it's hilarious. Yes. None of this says Joe Rogan, by the way, and that's why I say chances are it is Joe Rogan, but none of this sign says Joe Rogan. Well, it all says Asylum Real Estate Holdings.
Yes, which I love that part too. Which is it's one of the article from Austonia, reported that it was that Asylum Real Estate was owned partly by Joe Rogan. So.
Well, and that's true again, but that's why everybody's assuming that's what this is going to be. It's going to be a comedy club from a company that Joe Rogan owns a piece of, that he uses for a bunch of other stuff, and that's where it's kind of coming. But I don't want to say, hey, this is Joe Rogan, when you and I both don't know for certain. Sure there's nothing out there that says, hey, this is Joe Rogan's new comedy club.
Right. We
don't
and
look, there's a lot of reasons he may not want to say that until it's a done deal. Right. We all know that if you've got a name, things like negotiating and these kind of things can be way more expensive if you know Joe Rogan's on the other side of the checkbook. You want more money, right?
Right. So, there was there's a story of he's a billionaire investor. I forget his name off the top of my head. Chris something. He was on Shark Tank and stuff and said he worked as an attorney for Google, and when they wanted to go buy up a server farm, they would make him go there in like a tatty, like not dressed like a Google exec, and they would set up deep like holdings companies, like it's a holdings company in some executive's name or whatever, and that's how they would go buy up server farms and server space, because if people knew it was Google, the price changes. So, but the reason I do believe this is probably what it's going to be, and is in a recent podcast with Joey Coco Diaz, which is probably one of the funniest old people you've ever, like, he's hilarious. Right. He said, hey man, we should go check out the club. And so I have a feeling that this is probably his spot.
I hope it is, because I agree with you. Down on 6th Street, even though, like Danny said, people like us, once you grow out of that college level, and everybody should go to 6th Street when you come down to Austin and you've never been, go to 6th Street, experience it, right?
Yeah, so when I have family visit, like not my aunts and uncles, but cousins, and, my sister and her husband or whatever, when they come down to visit, we go. I that's the only time I go, though. Like, if my buddies are in town. Otherwise, I don't go, because I'm a grown man. I'm in my 30s.
It's filled with college kids from University of Texas. Yes. It's filled with idiots, like any place that's ever been in any of these kind of places are. So you just don't go. The parking is hellish, right? You have to park 3 blocks down and walk
under the 35 bridge.
Right. Well, if you can find a spot that's not filled with, you know what I mean? But
that's now, because that's how long it's been since I've been downtown. Is like
right. But I hope it is. This theater used to be an adult theater. It used to be a grunge band, a grunge club. It's been a bunch of different things. It's been around since, I think, 1929 was in the article, right? It's been around, so it's been a bunch of different things. It's been an Alamo Drafthouse Theater since, like, 2007. So it's clean. It's not like, hey, it was an adult theater yesterday, and now it's going to be Joe Rogan's Comedy Club.
Right.
But
it's not the Ritz brought to you by Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah, no. But I think that's funny that it's been a bunch of different things, right? But because it was an Alamo Drafthouse, it should have. And he's always said he wanted more than just one room. He wanted because he's always talked about the one in California, the comedy club out in California, how they had like 3 different rooms
that have different vibes and they're for different things. So here's what I do think that I think that. This is a good place for a comedy club. This is a good place for Joe Rogan to be investing, and this is the sign. This is the lighthouse beacon to the world that Austin is now just San Francisco East. Don't move here. I'm leaving.
Visit, bring your money, but don't move here.
Don't move here. I was recently looking at a property or looking for some properties in Austin. And on Redfin and Zillow, they go, here's the median home price. And I looked at, I moved to Austin in 2014. Here's the median home price down here off screen. Now here's the median home price also off screen.
Yes.
And it's turned into San Francisco. But I here's what I do appreciate. I do appreciate that the stuff that I love. So when I first moved to Austin, when I first visited Austin, it was January of 2014. I drove around and I got an apartment and all that stuff. And I was like, when I go to Los Angeles, I get it. When I go to San Francisco, I get it. I go to New York. I go to all these different cities. I get it. I went here. I was just like, I don't get it, bro. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. And so I still don't get it. However many years in. So
look, I think this is smart. I think this is smart, not only because it's as centrally located as you would want it to be, right? It's kind of
historic street. It's a historic building.
Surrounded by bars that when you go to the late show that's at 10 midnight or whatever, you walk out and here's 15 bars to choose from. Here's a couple of food spots to choose from. That kind of... Voodoo Donuts is a block away and it's open until like 3 o'clock in the morning because they know all these booze hounds, you know what I mean, come out.
By the way, I'm allergic to Voodoo Donuts. Last time I went to Voodoo Donuts and I said, hey, I'm allergic to almonds. They're like, oh, everything we make is gluten-free, so we use almond powder. I'm like, oh, cool, thanks. Can't eat anything here.
I think it's a really fancy donut that's not even as good as it should be. Like, it's really expensive, a whole bunch of crap piled up on top of a donut that's not even great. So
let me tell you something. A Krispy Kreme, hot, fresh off the roller, is the supremacy of donuts, and
I'm a Round Rock donut guy.
Voodoo Donuts is the Oklahoma of donuts. Okay,
so look, all right, Danny, you're gonna get onto this next story, but Krispy Kreme is good if it is hot and fresh, like that's one that they give you that is hot before that sugar coating crystallizes. Now, once after that, I'm done with Krispy Kreme. I don't like them once they're cold,
after that,
done. It's like McDonald's French fries. They are great right out of the box, right then, but 10 minutes later, they're garbage, right?
Right.
Round Rock Donuts, however, if you do come to Austin, Round Rock Donuts is it. That's the epitome of donuts. Go to Round Rock. And guess what? This past weekend, I'm happy to say that Round Rock Donuts opened its first official second site in Cedar Park, right down the street. Thank you very much. I'm glad. Anyway, now we can move on.
So how many years did I live really close to Round Rock Donuts and never went? How many times have I driven past Round Rock Donuts?
That's and said, on you, brother. That's on you. If
I'm going to eat a donut at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, it has to be as a large person, you have to make choices and trade-offs and go, if it's going to be right, it has to be a Krispy Kreme. So,
all right, I got you. All right, what's our last story, Dan?
Well, I'm going to tell you about our last story, but first I want to tell you about Avenue Lucky is my agency. that develops websites and provides done-for-you marketing services. You can check it out at avenuelucky.com. Look at me integrating all of my businesses into our podcast.
Very nice.